All right, so moving on to the next question. Robert says, what's the best way to start an SEO agency with no money today? I mean, that's hard. It's hard to start any kind of a business without money, man. You either need, I mean, you either have money or time, or there's like somewhere in between, right? So usually when you're starting out a business, you have more time and no money. So you do a lot of the work yourself. They call it elbow grease, right? You go in and do a lot of the work. And then once you start to have some revenue, you can start to buy tools and apps to automate, streamline things. You can hire personnel to delegate work to. But until you start having some revenue, you got to do it yourself. How to start an SEO agency with no money today? That's a good question. I think the best thing to do would be to, I mean, I don't know, man, because if you don't have any results to show, it's hard to get somebody to sign up with you, right? So it's difficult. What I would suggest is perhaps finding a friend, a family member, something like that, somebody that you're acquainted with that has a business, and offer to do SEO for them for free, as a case study, and ask them to leave you, or to provide you with a review once you get them results. And I would do something like that so that you have something to start with, so that you can learn. Number one, you can prove to yourself that you build your own confidence that you can get results. You're going to need to do that anyways. There's too many, we see it all the time, but people come into this industry that have no results, and they, go out and sell SEO services, and they really don't know what the hell they're doing. So it's always best to start with something. For years, I've been teaching, build your own kind of asset first, or assets, and start testing on your own stuff first, so that you can learn SEO, you can build your confidence up. And, once you start getting results, hopefully repeat results too. And then you can use those as case studies, or you can point to those, use those as examples to show that you know what it is that you're doing. However, if you don't have any money, you can kind of do that on your own still, but it's more difficult. It's better if you could work on somebody, because it's very difficult to register a Google Business Profile for now. So it's hard to create your own Google Business Profile that you're going to rank. And unless you want to start your own agency Google Business Profile, which you could register to your own home address, for example, get that validated, verified, and then you could potentially rank your own asset. But because it's hard to establish and verify a Google Business Profile now without a real valid business location and supporting documents and all that other kind of stuff, then I would recommend that you contact a family member, acquaintance, something like that, somebody within your sphere of influence, right, that that has a business, and offer to do it for free, because you need to build up your confidence and also have some examples that you can point to. Then once you have that, and a review, by the way, you can, as a condition of doing it for free, you could ask for a review once you get them results. Then that would be at least something that you could point to. I would recommend that you niche down, you stay within a particular industry, or even better yet, especially if you're starting off, a specialization within an industry, because industries are quite broad, or can be quite broad, often are quite broad. But specializations or specialized services, products or services within a particular industry are going to be typically easier to get results in, and easier to make a name for yourself that way. So as a follow-up to that, Robert, I would encourage you to literally check out what I've been doing on my Twitch channel. So that's twitch.tv/Bradley Benner, where I'm going through the process of what I call rank and rent SEO mastery. So it's about building a rank and rent SEO business where you build the assets first. And once they're ranking, then you contact the businesses in that industry and offer them to lease the assets, or you can do on a pay per lead basis. The way that I'm teaching it there's a couple of tools that you need, but they're very inexpensive. But I'm going to first go through the process very manually of how to build out some assets to start ranking after we've discovered keywords that we know we can rank for easily. That's a process I'm currently in right now. I was working on this morning, in fact. But I would encourage you to check that out. And also, I'm going to drop a link here in chat. That is, I know you guys aren't seeing my screen. That's all right. Give me 1 minute. I got to get a link here for you that is basically a training that I did for our mastermind members about how to select an industry or a niche. And again, back to what I was saying before, even more importantly, a specialization within an industry. And I'm going to give you access to this for free. This is a standard, an SOP or training process training that I created for our mastermind members on how to select a niche or an industry to target. The point that I'm trying to make is, especially if you're new, if you zero in, spend a lot of time on the research to determine which industry you want to get involved with. Now, if the only way that you're going to start is by finding a business that you know, like somebody that you know owns a business, whether it's a family member, a friend, or whatever, then you don't have a lot of options. But I would still encourage you to go through the training I'm about to share with you guys. You can get it, you can access it for free, but spend a lot of time trying to figure out which industry you want to enter, and then stick with it. Don't have buyer's remorse. We see it all the time in this industry where people pick a niche, they go in and they start doing some work and they don't get immediate results. And then they complain, oh, you know what? I picked a bad niche. No, if there are companies advertising in Google for that product or service, and then in the locations that you're targeting, you didn't pick a bad niche. You just haven't figured out how to make it work yet. That's what it is. Because people, and again, the training I'm going to give you access to goes very in depth as to how to do all the research needed to determine if it's a viable industry, if it's profitable, and if it's something that you could sell leads in or offer as a traditional retainer-based model. So again, all of this is to say, I would recommend starting with kind of like the rank and rent SEO stuff that I'm doing on Twitch, because you can do that manually for free. It's just going to require a lot of time to get it up and running. But you can do that for a very inexpensive, like a couple of tools or whatever. But select an industry that you desire to be in, that has proven is viable based upon the research that I'm going to give you access to on how to do the research. But I always tell people, if you can, try to select an industry that you have a desire, that you actually have a genuine interest in, because it feels less like work. I don't have a genuine interest in tree services. It just happened to be very, very lucrative. But if you do have an industry that you have an interest in, then it's easier to work in it all the time, if that makes sense. It feels a little bit less like work. But back to what I was saying, if you end up doing this to start with just an acquaintance that you know that has a business, then I wouldn't just start doing SEO for them. Just to learn how to do SEO, maybe, but I wouldn't select that industry unless it proves that it's viable based upon all the other research that I'm going to share with you now. So anyway, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I'm going to paste this into this is niche/industry selection SOP, which is standard operating procedure. And I'm putting this into YouTube chat, guys. You do have to register. It's in our new platform dashboard area or whatever for the Semantic Mastery content. So anyway, there you go. Okay.